Hello, Prevent-A-Thon 5 Game Submission Committee. This is my submission for Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition Randomizer. If you would, please check out the description of the video below, where I'll have some timestamps for a couple of cool key moments and explanations that happen throughout the run. If you want, you can just skip to those. This will be a 1 hour and 11-minute estimate run, but I do expect it, hopefully, to take about an hour. The extra generous estimate is because it's a randomizer, and so things can and will go awry, and we'll just have to play it where it lies, because randomizers are incredibly fun, and so that's what I'm going to be doing for you today. And this is how the run will go. Hello, good morning, good evening, good night, good time zone to everyone here for Ori and the Blind Forest Randomizer. My name is TurtleRun2412, and I will be your guide today through the wonderful world of Nibel in what is my favorite game of all time, hands down, bar none. I love Ori so much, and the randomizers makes it an infinitely replayable experience with something new to discover every single run. So, with that being said, let's just get right into things. I don't see any point in delaying. I want to play Ori. You want to watch Ori. Let's do it. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Let's rando. So, first off, we skip the prologue. This saves like 10 minutes. It's a very good prologue. Please play this game. Please watch all the cutscenes. You will cry. I cried. It's a really good game with a really good story. But, you know, we're playing rando. Good luck on your rando. Also, your rando luck on good. Everything is randomized in the world of Nibel. As we get to our first pickup almost right away, what are we going to start with? A keystone. That's a pretty typical start. So yes, this is a 2D Metroidvania. And in the randomizer, there are 256 pickups that have been spread, swapped, and scattered all throughout the land. And we are going to need to uncover a good deal of them, probably around half, in order to complete this whole seed. Give the Rhino a hug, take some of his EXP, and head over to our second pickup, which is likely going to be another keystone. Ooh, an energy cell. That's really nice. So yeah, some of the things that we will be getting include health cells, energy cells, keystones, map stones, ability cells, and EXP, which you can see measured in the bottom wheel there, and abilities sort of like this, but not exactly like this. You can see in the tracker that's currently above me, we just got our first ability, which is Spirit Flame. However, this actually isn't randomized. This is the one ability that isn't randomized because without it, you're soft locked out of like 90% of seeds, so we don't randomize it for what I hope is an obvious reason. But the other 10 abilities, which you can see on the outside of that wheel, are randomized. So those could be anywhere in the map, all 10 of those abilities. And we will need to get some of them in order to complete the game. So definitely keep an eye up on that tracker, because that tracker shows pretty much all of the important elements of Ori and the Blind Forest, as well as keep an eye when I get pickups on this text screen right here. If this text screen is white, it is a normal pickup. If the text is a different color, green, red, blue, or orange, that is an important pickup that you should take note of. So that's a little handy-dandy guide for any viewers who want to keep track of what's going on a little better. But we're going to see if we can't check what this pickup is. Oh, that's a really good teleporter. I'm going to have to come back for that when I have some more health to survive that swim a little bit better, because I am bad at the 3 health fake flippers trick. But in the meantime, we'll still have some progress going on, and we get our first skill already. This is Climb. Climb is a form of what we call wall interaction. So at the beginning of the game, Ori can only slide slowly off walls, which is not great. You typically want to, you know, be able to go up walls. Usually, the first skill you get in the game, vanilla, is wall jump. But randomizer, that's not guaranteed. So instead, we get Climb. And another colored pickup, the Gumon Seal. This one I'll talk about a little bit later because it's not as relevant. But yeah, Climb is our wall interaction. It means we can climb up walls, escape pits, and generally do good things in terms of, hey, look at this pit that I'm escaping right now, because I fell down on accident. Generally do good things in terms of a Metroidvania. So I'm going to come over here, grab a couple more pickups. You're getting a lot of keystones. A lot of keystones are required in the early game, as keystone tutorials are all over. And so this amount of keystones is sort of hinting to me that we are going to need to go through a very keystone dense area. But I don't actually really want to do that. I'm going to put that off for a little while, if we can. If the game forces me to, I will absolutely go through Spirit Caverns, which it seems like I might need to, but it's not an area that's required, so we're not going to it. Let's talk about what is required. So, in order to beat the game, you need to go to... Okay, hold on. Let's put that discussion off for a little bit, as I just got a pretty neat pickup that I would like to talk to you about, and that's Mega Health. So there are several different pickups in the game that are not in Vanilla Ori. Those are bonus pickups. And the Randomizer has several different item pools that have different amounts of these bonus pickups. I'm playing with the standard item pool, or the competitive version of the standard item pool. So there are mostly standard items, but a couple of cool things like Mega Health. What Mega Health is, it is 5 health that I get all at once. But unlike regular health pickups, it is temporary. So if I lose this Mega Health, it is gone forever. There's also a version of it called Mega Energy, where I get 5 energy, where once you lose that, it's gone forever. So, you know, keep an eye out for that. There is also some other bonus pickups that are going to be useful, like health regeneration, energy regeneration, attack upgrade, extra air dash, and my personal favorite, extra double jump. So hopefully we'll be seeing that, but that's one pickup out of 256. Who knows if it'll show up. We are actually going to use this Mega Health to do that fake flippers trick over here, because now we have enough health to quite easily survive a dirty trip into the poisonous swamp water. So down here, grab it, and get out. Just like that. So we lose all that health. As you can see, we're back down to now a 3 maximum, but that is fine because we got what we needed, which is that Grotto Teleporter. That is out of logic, so I won't be using it just yet, but that is one of the best items to get in the early game to unlock that teleporter, because it is right above an incredibly dense area. So we'll be heading there fairly soon. In the meantime, though, we're going to stick to logic for just a little bit longer to see if there aren't any more skills that the game wanted to give me early. And this area is Blackroot Burrows. Blackroot Burrows is added in the definitive edition of the game, and it features a lot of puzzles where you just pick up an orb and carry it around. So there aren't a lot of ways to speed up this area even with every single skill. So we can head in here very, very early, and that's something that a lot of Rando players will do, just because there aren't a lot of ways to speed it up, so you might as well get in here and do what you can. I am going to have to do some climb shenanigans. Climb is not the ability that you are supposed to do. Okay, there we go. We climb on up, get this pickup. Oh, okay. Lots of things to talk about early on in this scene, which is fun. So that is the Forlorn Teleporter. The Forlorn Teleporter is a somewhat special teleporter in that it is not in and of itself logical progression. Because in order to get into Forlorn, you need the Gumon Seal. Otherwise, the Gumon Seal could be locked inside of Forlorn, and that is illogical. However, you might have noticed or remembered that I got the Gumon Seal earlier. So the fact that the Gumon Seal and the Forlorn Teleporter were in logic early means that Forlorn is in logic super duper early. And that could be key to completing the seed. However, did you really snipe me? Oh, Slime. Oh, Slime, you rascal, you. But to get back to talking about Forlorn, I don't want to go to Forlorn. And the reason for that is this game's goal mode, which is force trees. So if we were to just go to the end of the game, that would be a little bit too easy. You'd really just need a couple of skills, a couple of health, and the Sunstone. That's it. If you get those all in like your first 20 pickups, you just end the game there. No problems, but that's too easy. So what the Randomizer developers did is they added various different goal modes. And the one I use, the most common one, is force trees. That means in order to even enter the final escape, I need to have gotten all 10 of the vanilla skill locations, known as skill trees. So we'll visit almost every single area in the game, except Forlorn, but maybe we'll visit Forlorn anyways, because it is in early logic. In the meantime, as we make our way to the dash tree, let's talk about this trick that I'm doing that you'll see several times throughout the run, but especially in Blackroot Burrows. That trick is very useful for skipping cutscenes, and there are a lot of those in BRB. Oops. Went a little too far into the Crusher in the dark, but what's happening is, in Ori, if you save in the middle of a cutscene, it either skips the cutscene entirely or lets you run around in the middle of a cutscene, both of which are pretty good outcomes. Now, normally, you cannot save in the middle of cutscenes because the game just won't let you. But by opening up the ability tree and then opening and closing it again on the same frame, which is very easy to do with a keybind in-game, Ori can... I'm going to need to keep this. Ori can save by leveling up an ability, which automatically saves the game. Usually you can only open up that ability menu in place, but since we are able to open it and close it on the same frame, we can move around with it still open, get into the cutscene with it still open, save, and then skip the cutscene. So in this case, the cutscene that we did there actually did something different. Instead of skipping the cutscene outright, it let us move around during the cutscene, in which case we went behind the Crushers and got an extra pickup, and after that, we got into the place to start a second cutscene. And then as soon as that second cutscene started, the first one ended, and the game went, okay, you can have your movement back. So we got our movement back, and then started a third cutscene, and then the second one ended, and then we got our movement back. So that cutscene stack, as it's called, lets us to skip some of the shenanigans in that area. Can I just get the micro ledge, please? Okay, whoop. There's a small micro ledge there. What a micro ledge is, I should probably talk about that quickly. Oh my gosh, nope, we're not talking about that. We're talking about the sunstone. Because we actually already have one of the items that you need to beat every single seed. By the way, another save anywhere skips that Indiana Jones boulder. Since that's a cutscene, we kind of skip the cutscene where it's evil, and it then just doesn't do any damage to us. But the sunstone. The sunstone is one of the two items that is required to beat every single seed of forest trees. And that is because we need all 10 trees, and one of those is in the dungeon called the Ginso tree. So in order to get into that dungeon, you need the dungeon key, the water vein. Also, you need to get into the final escape of the game, which is in the Mount Horu dungeon. In order to get into that dungeon, you need the dungeon key, the sunstone. So we already have the sunstone. We do not need to worry about our dungeon key hunt for that. We do still need to worry about the water vein. Water vein, question mark, question mark, question mark. But that screen that I'm showing up is actually a sort of a clue, almost, as to how we're going to be doing some of that. So, with the... words are hard. Words are very hard right now. With the way that the dungeon keys are scattered about, they could be basically anywhere, and that can make a search for one of them quite hard. And the developers of the Randomizer have added several different hint modes in order to help you find those all-important dungeon keys without getting super-duper stuck and lost. And the hint mode that I have is called Clues. What that means is that on trees on number 3, 6, and 9, I will get a clue to the location of one of the dungeon keys. So by tree 9, I will have all 3 of them. That is a way that I can find the biomes that those dungeon keys are located in. So they're never hard locked. There is always a way to sort of sniff out their location. And it works very, very well in combination with forest trees. So I'm going to be going to all of the trees anyways. And that means that I'm not going to have too much of an issue getting those hints for the dungeon tree locations. We're going to have to level up a subpar ability, but that's fine. Because skipping cutscenes, like I mentioned, is quite good. I actually failed that cutscene skip. See if I can get the first frame jump. There we go. That was better. So yeah, we basically just... that cutscene usually drops you all the way down this big long fall, and then you have to climb all the way back up with the skill that you get at the bottom that we don't have. So instead, you can just skip the cutscene, and that allows Ori to simply jump over before the bridge is actually broken. And that gets me a couple more pickups as we now enter Grotto, the area that I got the extra teleporter to at the beginning of the run underwater. Grotto is really nice because it is the single most dense area in the game. There is a lot going on down here. Unfortunately, I cannot get all of it because I do not have verticality, the ability to jump up high, or blue breakage, the ability to destroy certain blue plants, which are actually checks in the randomizer. Okay, we missed the jump a little bit, but it's fine. We got the ability cell. So yeah, but still going down here is great, not only because it is a very dense area, but also because it has a very easily accessible tree. And that tree, if you know how to count, I just died for no reason. That's fun. That tree will be our third skill tree. That was actually a pretty nasty death. Oops. Every random runner has had this happen, though, where you forget to save for a while because you're confident in your skills, and then something slips up and then you die, and it's like, oh, I haven't saved in 3 minutes. In this case, I think it's only like 1 minute, but you know, still. I'm going to go back and recollect all the stuff that I got, because a lot of them is ability cells, and ability cells are this number down here that you see in the skill wheel, or in the level up wheel, and those are used to purchase skills, which is what I am doing to save anywhere. So that save anywhere trick does require me to use ability cells, so I want more ability cells so I can do more save anywheres. There we go. That's a 2 crusher cycle, or 2 crushers in 1 cycle. And we'll continue to go through some more crushers on our way down to the double jump tree. Oh, speaking of the devil, it's double jump, which is actually my favorite ability in the entire game, believe it or not. I love double jump so much. It is one of the most fun skills in the randomizer, and I'm super glad that I got it. Every seed I look for double jump, and sometimes you don't find it, you don't need it, but we got double jump in this case. And so as you can see, double jump lets me, well, double jump. It is a form of air stall, letting you stay in the air for longer and cross some gaps, and it also is a form of verticality, because you can gain extra height by a double jump, and maybe even later, triple jump, and maybe, if we're really lucky, we'll get to see a quad jump seed. I would be very happy if we get a quad jump seed going, but that's not a guarantee. The only thing that is a guarantee is we'll get the water vein, we'll get the sunstone, and we'll visit all of the skill tree locations. But we're coming up to one of those right here, which is the double jump tree itself. Like I mentioned, this is our third tree, so there's a 33% chance that we will get the hint for our water vein location. The water vein hint might be on tree 3, 6, or 9. So the hint was for one of the things that we already got. A little unfortunate, but no big worries. We'll still be able to do some more stuff and shenanigans throughout the run. Now we are going to go back to the start of the game, because with the amount of keystones we've gotten, there's a very early game area called Spirit Caverns that opens up with 2 keystones at the bottom and 4 keystones at the top. Exactly the number of keystones we currently have. So I am thinking that this area likely has something in it, just based on the fact that the game gave me a bunch of free keystones, which is usually an indication that logic wants me to go to do this. I'm going to grab some more pickups along the way, of course, because with our double jump, we have a little bit more maneuverability in the air. So, for example, make sure this Frankie doesn't get to bother me. We can do yoop and get slide right on up here for another additional pickup. Hooray, we love pickups. It's money, or rather EXP. We give the EXP funny names because it's funny to do so. But here we are at Spirit Caverns. So as we enter and go through Spirit Caverns, let's talk a little bit about logic. So the randomizer has a very robust system of logic that prevents seeds from getting soft locked. Basically, the randomizer will always have some form of progression, an item that you need to get or are supposed to get in order to go through. There are some sequence breaks that can be done to logic, like the poison water swim I did from earlier, but those are not always, those are not required in logic at certain difficulty levels. I have the standard difficulty, which is, standard, and it's what I prefer to play at. There are expert, master, and casual difficulty levels for higher and less high difficulties. And there is also a insane difficulty if you really hate yourself. But I'm going to pull up the save editor menu. I don't know if I can get this, but we're going to at least try. We got it. First try. Yep. do some shenanigans with double jump and climb in order to get that pickup, and head on over to a really long cutscene. This one is like 2 minutes long, so yeah, we're not watching it. Bye! Because over here is another tree. This strategy that I'm going for, and that's pretty common in Ori Rando, is called lumberjacking, where the runner will go and try and get as many trees as possible, first and foremost. So, because there's a tree down here, that means I want the tree down here. There's also another pickup nearby, which I want to not orphan, because it is an early game pickup, so it could have dash or a keystone. But, yeah, we're going to grab all the trees we can, because we need to come into these areas anyways, for forest trees. But you heard me mention dash. Dash is one of the game's 3 power skills. You almost always need a power skill to beat a seed, because they are just very, very strong. Glide is not one of them. Glide is handy dandy, but not all that useful without the wind restored. So we'll take it, for sure. It's a skill, but it's fine. But the power skills, bash, dash, and charge jump. Each of these unlocks so much of the map, gives you a lot of different things that you need, and it's just generally good. So if we can find one of those 3 skills, we will be set for a good long while. So we are currently out of trees that we can get. We have 4 of them, 6 more that we need, but I don't have a good way to get those 6 other trees. So I can't really lumberjack, and that leads me to try a strategy of teleport lumberjacking. That doesn't really sound right, but basically, yeah, I'm just going for some extra teleporters so that I can use them later to teleport around the map. And then I'm just grabbing pickups along the way, including my beloved extra double jump. So you now notice, not only do I have double jump, I have triple jump. And even better than triple jump, there's a skill on the blue tree, my favorite tree, which is triple jump in vanilla. So then I'll have triple jump, and I'll still have extra double jump, which will give me quad. We are very likely to see a quad seed, and oh yes, I am so incredibly happy about that. But we also, you saw, got a red-colored pickup. Okay, nope, we're talking about charge jump next, because we just got an incredibly good skill. I'm going to... Let's open up this and actually go do charge jump. Right, charge jump obviously lets us jump super... I don't have enough keystones. What am I doing? Charge jump lets us jump super duper high, like 10 times Ori's normal jump height. You absolutely soar. In the vanilla game, charge jump is the final skill you get, and it's therefore pretty suitably powerful. It basically one-shots an enemy if I can charge jump into them. And yeah, as you can see, it is very, very high, gives me so much verticality, so much control. There's a reason it is one of the power skills. So finding that is huge to our future success in the run. Skipping a cutscene there, gonna head on up here. This is actually a really comfy skill set. 41 hugs, everyone give someone a hug, your pet or your friend. 41 times apparently. But yeah, no, we have verticality, we have wall interaction, we have air stall, we have climb and charge jump, which synergize together because you can climb on a wall and then charge jump sideways or downward in order to break certain walls or floors like you saw me do earlier. The only thing we're really missing at this point is what's called blue breakage. The blue breakage skills are grenade, charge flame, and technically dash, although that one's not logical, but it still counts, especially for someone who's run the game as much as I have. If we get blue break, we will be able to break blue walls and blue plants, which can block my progress in the case of walls, or hide pickups in the case of blue plants. So we very much would like blue break to be able to complete our skill set. I think I did the blind movement wrong. Okay, that's fine. But that's not a guarantee, unfortunately. So we'll play it where it lies, Squidward, and do what we can without blue break. But other than that, this is a very comfy skill set and has gotten us the teleporter for Swamp. That's what this area is, Swamp. And we're going to go back towards Inner Swamp, sort of the same thing I started doing before realizing I didn't have enough keystones. But now I do have enough keystones. So there is a tree in Swamp, and with charge jump, we have enough power to get back to everyone's favorite Ori randomizer ability, lumberjacking. We're heading for yet another tree. I need to make sure to do another cutscene skip here. There's a big cutscene trigger that if you just use that platform above, you can avoid. And get back over here. By the way, a bunch of the enemies in this game have names, which is very cute. This is Ringo. We call him Ringo because if you bash him to the other side of where I'm going, he sits on one of the logs, and it makes the sound of the log breaking over and over and over again. And it kind of sounds like drumming. So he's Ringo, which I hope you understand the reference for. And yeah, Ringo's very cute. We love our animal friends in Ori and the Blind Forest. I'll try and shout out other names of other creatures as we head by them. There's some really important and notable ones like Ringo, but yeah, for now, just everyone, hi Ringo, bye Ringo. And hi, more importantly, to the climb tree, which we'll jump on over, use our handy dandy glide to wee breeze over some spikes. I'm going to grab some extra pickups because these could be something useful. Every pickup could be something useful, especially if it is the water vein, something we still are looking for and do not want to leave behind. But tree number 5, we are already halfway there, believe it or not. And we have a decent skill set to keep moving on, and I think there's one more tree that we can even get right now. Even though it is a little bit of a shenanigan, but hey, I personally am all for shenanigans, especially when it makes the speedrun go fast. So we are going to go fast. There's a frog over there named Marvin. Marvin is very important, but we're not going to see him again because I have climb charge jump, which is floor breakage. You can hang onto this wall, boop, and there we go. You're supposed to use stomp to break that, but climb charge jump works just fine. Also, these lasers, you can just duck under some of them. The more you know. But yeah, cheesy thing that you can do just to get a couple more pickups. I'm going to take a slight detour down this way in order to get this frog to die. This frog to die. I'm a little worried because these spikes are infinite damage, so I have to be very careful in avoiding them. Okay, but we kill both frogs, and that opens up this pickup. We're just getting some extra pickups because I want to be safe. I am still missing Blue Break, I am still missing Bash, and I am missing Dash, and I am missing, most importantly of all, the Water Vein. So those pickups are all... Hi, frog, can you stop, please? There we go. Problem solved. Power of incredible violence. Again, you can just duck under some lasers, which is very fun. Don't need to worry about dashing through, which is what the game would normally want from me here. Ooh! Okay, that's an ability that's not 100% useful, but is actually quite handy to have nonetheless. That is Stomp. As you can see, I just stomped that flower. And Stomp is kind of obsolete because we have Charge Jump and Climb, but Stomp is still useful in terms of not having to set up for the Climb Charge Jump like this. Boop. In that case, there was a laser in my way, so I had time to set up. But yeah, Stomp lets you break floors very, very quickly and easily. No problemo. And you know, breaking things quickly and or doing things quickly and easily is what the randomizer is all about. But speaking of quickly, we're going to make it through this area without dash. You are supposed to have dash to get through these lasers, and this laser is one of the few ones you can only duck at the start of the laser, not near the end. So we open up our Save Anywhere menu, handy dandy, just like that. And what we can do is save anywhere after dying to the laser, and the game sort of forgets that we're supposed to be dead, and basically just lets us respawn for free with ease. I'm going to save because this section is a little annoying. This pinwheel of lasers instantly kills us. Again, you're supposed to have dash, but with some very precise movement, and I am incredibly glad I got first try, we just bounce off the pinwheel itself in between the lasers in order to make it up to this cutscene, which is like a minute long, so we kept the save anywhere up so we could skip the cutscene, save a minute, and make our way to our 6th tree, the grenade tree. So 6th might be our water vein hint. There's a 50% chance it is. Let's see. It is not. Okay, so we're going to have to wait all the way until tree 9 to get that important hint. That is a little bit unfortunate. And so I'm actually going to show off another feature of the randomizer here, the logic filter. All of Forlorn is in logic. So if you are ever stuck in the randomizer, I'm not exactly stuck, but I'm sort of thinking about what to do. and using that logic filter to show me what the game expects me to do. All the pickups that you saw highlighted are pickups that I can currently get with my skill set. If I can't get the pickup, it actually doesn't show up in that logic tracker. So that is a really good way, if you're learning the rando, to sort of parse out, like, okay, does the game think I can get this? Does the game want me to go here? Is the pickup visible? Then yes, with my current skill set, I should be able to get that. It can be somewhat hard to figure out how you are supposed to get that, especially on higher difficulty modes, but if you do end up attempting the Ori randomizer, there are a billion people in the Discord who will always be willing to help you out. So, definitely use their help if you can. But we are going to make our way to the final dungeon of the game, actually, right now, Mount Horu. And the reason why, we're going to have to go there eventually, and there's a teleporter along the way. So we're not lumberjacking, we can't get to any more trees, but we are, this word just doesn't work, but teleporter jacking. We're lumberjacking for a teleporter. Oh, the frog is dead. Rip frog. Ow. Rip Ori. There goes my mega health. But yeah, banelings deal a lot of damage. No one knows why, but it's a lot. But we're going to make it up here, grab some more pickups along the way, get the all-important teleporter from Mount Horu, so that we can make our way back there later on. Easy peasy. Hi. It did damage to its... Hold on a moment. This is the most powerful skill in the game. This is the most powerful skill in the game. This, my dear friends, is Bash. As you can see, I've already used it there. Bash is, well, I just said this, the most powerful skill in the game. If you've played Ori, you know exactly how absolutely juicy Bash is. Bash lets you take basically any enemy or projectile, push it in one direction, and Ori goes flying in the other direction. So it is quite fast to use Bash, and, it lets you escape enemies really easily. Like this frog, we just say bye. This baneling, we just say bye. And then we don't have to worry about them, unless he chases me down. But yeah, Bash is even more broken than Randomizer because of a feature called Double Bash. So Double Bash is in vanilla. You can do this in the base game, but the Randomizer, for accessibility purposes, makes it even easier to use this Double Bash trick. I'll talk about that in a sec, because first off, Mount Horu. So if you played Ori casually, you might be thinking this area looks a little different. There isn't all the lava in the way. Shoutouts to Torin. He added that one EXP pickup as a reference to the one EXP pickup in A Link to the Past, and we like our in-jokes. So every time the one EXP pickup shows up, you have to thank Torin. But right, back to Mount Horu. There is, in the game, a really, really easy way to skip sort of the entirety of Mount Horu. And it's a trick I'll talk about when I do it later on, but because Mount Horu is so easily skippable, the Rando devs have added in a little bit of an easier way to route Mount Horu. So instead of having to go to the top, turn off all of the lava waterfalls on your way down, just to get maybe one pickup in one of the bottom rooms, the Randomizer actually lets you just straight up skip to any room you want in any order. So the lava walls are removed. That makes Mount Horu really, really interesting to think about, to route, and to go through. So it's a very, very fun change. We hopefully won't be seeing much of Mount Horu. We can do quite a lot of it, but it is the last area in the game. There's a lot of infinite damage lasers and lava, so it's dangerous, but we'll make it work somehow anyways. Boop. Hi bird, come here. Never mind. So this is double bashing. As you can see, I am bashing twice. And instead of Ori going one way and the enemy going another like that, you can actually have Ori go the same direction as the enemy. This is something that you can do in vanilla, but the Randomizer, for accessibility purposes, makes it much, much easier to double bash. And by double bashing certain enemies and certain projectiles, there is a lot of speed things that we can do. So, for example, I'm going to take this frog. Okay, I missed him, but it's fine. We can actually just do yoop. Forget that I don't have wall jump. I only have to climb, so we have to climb wall jump. But yeah, double bashing lets you do some shenanigans. I'll maybe show one off with the fish here. as we go underwater, grab a pickup. Hi, fish. Thank you, fish. But yeah, see, you can chain double bashing together really, really easily, and by doing so, have a lot of fun. Have a lot of fun. It is, if you get good at double bashing, it is legitimately one of the most fun sort of feelings in Rando. Just know, like, hey, I can bring this enemy or this projectile anywhere I want. And, oh, we are in go mode almost. That is the water vein. So I was mentioning the dungeon keys, and the dungeon key that you need in order to get into the Ginso tree is that right there, the water vein. So we just have that now, and therefore don't need to worry about any sort of, sorry, deleting a chatter in a bot in Twitch. We don't need to worry about any of the shenanigans that would otherwise come with, actually I'm going to, let's play it safe. Any of the shenanigans that come with the dungeon key hunt. We don't need the hints, we just got the water vein, we got the sunstone, we got lucky, let's be honest, but those hints would have saved us. If we didn't get lucky, we would still be able to figure out where everything is. But yeah, that means we have access to all of the dungeons, we have a skill set that will let us complete the final escape, and barring a few shenanigans that we have to do, we can get the final 3 trees. Because that feather, that was a tree. The tree count goes up, so it must be a tree. I don't make the rules, it's a tree. But yeah, with that, we have everything we need to finish out this seed. Boo and ya. So our first destination with our new bash is this area, Misty Woods. Now normally, Misty Woods is pretty scary, and I am going to be continuing to collect pickups, just because if it's on my screen, I like to get it. It takes like 5 seconds, who cares? Maybe it is something that's useful, but Misty is a very spooky area in vanilla, which is sort of based off of the Lost Woods. As you go through the area, there are several triggers that you will hit, and these triggers will sort of change the way the area looks like and flows. So you'll see here, I go over to this keystone pickup, which is a dead end. There's nothing past here, but I turn around, and all of a sudden everything looks different. And as you go through Misty, all of these triggers have to be hit in their order. You cannot skip them. So if you, for any reason, leave Misty and come back, and need to come back, then you will have to hit all of the triggers all over again. So yeah, it's a very linear area in the randomizer, and that means we only ever want to enter Misty when we are sure that there is nothing we need here. And now I have the water vein, I have a skill set that lets me get to go mode. There's nothing we need. This is go mode. And that means we can enter Misty without any fear of a Misty revisit shenanigan. So we're going to just head on down, avoid some spiky spikes, and here is tree number 8. Right over here. So yeah, we're very quickly approaching the end game. This is, I don't want to say a jet seed. We don't have dash in particular, which I think is almost required for a true jet seed, but we have everything we need. So this is going to wrap up nice and quick, coming in way under the hour and 11-minute estimate. But hey, who cares? Because next up on our list is the Ginso tree. This is the area that we needed the water vein to unlock, and now that we have that water vein, we can just head right on in. Ginso tree is also a very linear area. It is a tree that you climb up the trunk of. It goes basically straight up the entire way through. The skill tree that we need is about halfway up. So we're going to do about half of it and then leave. And then that also sort of abandons the top half of the tree. But, well, if we already have everything we need, we don't care about finishing out the top half of the tree. We can just unga and bunga. You know how it is? You know how it is. Yep. After we dodge these gamers, I should mention how I am leaving these areas early. So this is not a feature in Vanilla Ori, but it is something that was added to the randomizer. And that is called an Alt-R, based on the keybind that we use to do it. Alt-R triggers the teleport menu from anywhere Ori might be, based on a feature in Will of the Wisps, actually. So by Alt-Ring, you can leave an area at any point and teleport to any of the teleporters you've already gotten. This feature was added as a soft lock prevention feature for if you don't have, for example, wall jump, you sometimes can fall into pits that you can't get out of, but Alt-R can be used anywhere to save you and bring you back to a safe teleporter. But speedrunners like me will just use it to skip sections of the game, because it's faster to skip sections of the game. Again, I like collecting pickups on my screen, even if they're not required, but they're on my screen, so we're going to take the 5 seconds it takes to grab them. That keystone door is now open. We might need like one more keystone, but oh, hey look, one more keystone. Ta-da! Fate is kind to us today, dear friends, as we get our 9th out of 10 trees, the Bash tree. And then we're going to use that Alt-R keybind to warp right on out of here. No troubles at all, dearest friends. Also, we're getting more health. Health is nice. I'd rather not die, because the last area that we need to go to is Sorrow Pass. In the vanilla game, this is the penultimate area, and it is rather dangerous. So the spikes here deal either 4 or 5 damage. So the 4 damage ones we can take 2 hits from. The 5 damage ones we can not take that much damage from. But I'm going to... do I need to charge them off the wall? Yes, I do. We're going to climb our way up back to the entrance, which usually you are supposed to get with some wind and the ability Glide. We have Glide, but there's no wind. We did not get that world event, which is just a pickup in the randomizer. But with the power of Double Bash, we can take a bird, be pretty precise about its placement, and Double Bash it all the way through the Sorrow entry. That is called Sorrow Bash. There are several different versions of this trick, but with Double Jump it is quite easy to do, and now we are in Sorrow. It's a pretty straight shot from here all the way to the end with one, no, never mind, none major exceptions. So I am going to grab the pickup along the way because I can. We can fly up here. Since we have climb and charge jump, you can break this floor from below and keep going up and up and up, because even if you don't have wind restored, the wind is on in this area. The wind restored is literally for every other area of the game. That is actually vanilla behavior. That is not rando. That is vanilla being vanilla. Grab some more pickups again because I can. They're literally on my path. Why wouldn't I? Going to intentionally take a damage here. Open this door. Save. Die intentionally, because when you die intentionally, the door opens faster. And da-na-na-na-na-na-na. I don't know why I just did a Zelda jingle badly. This is our final tree. 10 out of 10. We have now gained access to the final escape. And since we already have the Horu teleporter, we can go right there in the blink of an eye. This seed is turning out to be quite fast. Definitely don't get me wrong, there's a reason I am setting the estimate for this at 1 hour and 11 minutes. But yeah, sometimes a seed can just be quite a bop. So this is the glitch that you can do in vanilla that lets you skip the entire Dungeon of Horu. That was frame perfect, by the way. You are allowed to clap. That is a trick called the door warp. If you press up on the first frame that the game loads in, when you save in front of a door, the door does not put you where it wants to. It instead puts you somewhere else. In this case, it teleports Ori right in front of the end. It depends on which door you door warp in front of, but the front door of Horu takes you to the end of Horu. It's super convenient, and that allows us to get right into the final escape. You saw I leveled up Quad Jump, because Quad Jump makes me feel cozy on the inside. And say hi to our big friend Kuro, a giant bird who gives us 11 bits. And if you want to donate 11 bits to Prevent-A-Thon, do it. And sends us into the gauntlet of the final escape. So one of the great things about Ori Randomizer is that there is no one skill required to beat the final escape. You can beat it without dash like I'm doing. You can beat it without bash. You can beat it without charge jump. There is nothing required. There are so many different skill sets that you can use, and a comfortable rando player like myself will be able to do it with quite a varied amount of skill sets. This is a quite comfy skill set actually. Between bash and charge jump, we have a lot of maneuverability, say hi to Miriam and Jeremy, these two fish, who are the final enemies in the game, before we can skip a cutscene trigger by gliding precisely near the top of the wall. And then all we have to do is bash a couple times, and there we go. That is Ori Rando. This, I don't think, will be a sub 45, but it's going to be darn near close. While I continue to hold... What are my directions? Right. While I continue to hold right during these sort of, like this cooldown period, let's do some quick shoutouts. So shoutouts go to the entire Ori community. They are all absolutely amazing people. I love them all with my whole heart. If you want to get into Ori Rando, or Ori Vanilla, or Ori 2 Rando, or Ori 2 Vanilla, it's all just one big community of people who are so willing to help you. Put a message in chat being like, hey, do you know how to do this? Hey, could I have some help with this? And there will be 4 or 5 people, depending on the time of day, waiting to be like, yeah, let me explain this. Let me show you. Let's do this, because welcome to the community. Ori is just amazing. I absolutely love it so much. In particular, I do want to shout out the people who were those 4 or 5 who helped me out when I first joined the community in various ways. Those people being Smashy, Covert Muffin, 2Kill, Infinite, and Grem, aka Purple Ketchup. Thank you all so much for helping me to become the Ori runner I am today. Time, by the way, is coming up in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 time. Yeah, not a sub 45, but darn near close. This was a pretty good seed. We got basically everything we want, and we were always able to progress towards a new teleporter or tree. So yeah, good seed, good times. I love Ori so much. Shoutouts to the sad cutscene that we're not going to watch. Ori's fine, actually. Ori does not die here. They're just taking a little nap. And that's not a joke. They actually are just taking a little nap. They get better in the rest of the cutscene after Kuro sacrifices herself because she realizes that the fire might accidentally kill her last egg. It's very wholesome. I absolutely cried. But speaking of people I would cry for, Aiko, I don't know why I said it like that, but these people are also so dear to my heart. Aiko in particular, the current lead dev on the Randomizer, but everyone who's worked on the Randomizer has made this game so incredible to replay again and again and again. I have sunk so many hours in this, and I want to sink so many more. I love Ori so much. So thank you to everyone who's listed in this credits, both for the Randomizer and the base game. I don't know, it's just so good. I love this game. If you also love this game, or the sequel, and want to play them vanilla or randomized, please join the community at orirando.com/discord. That link will take you to the Discord for all things Ori, where the amazing community that I love so much resides. But that is unfortunately it. That was a jet seed, and we're already done. So if you do want to see more Ori Rando, you can catch me at Turtle Run or twitch.tv/TurtleRun2412. I also run other randos and some silly games because I like to be a little goofy, but that's Ori. So Prevent-A-Thon 5, I hope that you consider this submission for your marathon. I don't know, I love this game and I really like to show it off. And thank you for hosting the marathon and doing all the good work for Little Warriors. I hope to see you this May. Until then, bye!